Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the special Board of Education open session meeting, the annual organizational meeting and the annual meeting of the Monrovia Unified School District Finance Corporation. We are all here this evening, so as I take the visual on our attendance, will you all please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. At this time, I'd like to see if there's any public comments on the Special Board of Education meeting. Ms. Huff, do we have any comments?
There are none.
Thank you very much. Up first, we have recognitions. It's been a very interesting day as I thought about what to say about these two guys. You have collectively about 30 years of service to Monrovia Unified School District as elected officials. And the mark that you both have left on this community will be felt for years and years to come. Up first is Brian Wong. Brian was elected in 2003. That was a memorable year.
Not this memorable.
And when Brian came onto the board, they hit the ground running. They were going through policies that probably hadn't been updated in 20 years. And it took them a long time to get through all those policy changes. We're the beneficiary of the hard work that board put together because it basically got us up to speed and then put us on a trajectory so that we can keep our policies current. Brian was also at the district when we passed the last bond in 2006 that built the new sports facility at Monrovia High School and brought some really important upgrades to that facility. Brian was also instrumental in making sure that when they went through that remodel, that the integrity of that beautiful school was kept as a prize that it is for our community. And it's not policies that I'll remember you for. It's not the buildings that you helped build. It's not the buildings that you helped preserve. It was what you did making sure that the students who were under your care succeeded. And I'll forever be grateful, and so will those families. Brian, thank you for 17 great years. You get to speak.
Thanks.
Wait, President Hammond, we all have a few words.
Well, we all have, oh, I'm sorry.
Yes.
Well, then, I'm going to go off script.
Please.
Yes, please.
Okay, thank you. First, a little story, Brian. When I was running for school board, I met Brian for coffee to pick his brain and learn all that I could from him. 2 hours later, I knew how seriously he took his position as a school board member and how knowledgeable he was. Little did I know, that was just a drop in the bucket of what I was to learn from Brian these past 2 years. Your professionalism, knowledge, and expertise has been an invaluable asset for us. Thank you for your years of service and dedication to the children of Monrovia, and I wish you all the best, Brian, and please don't be a stranger.
Brian, we've been through a lot together. I'll never forget that first few years when the district was our scores were low, our achievement was low, and there were a lot of good things. I don't want to take everything away from the district because there were a lot of good things going on. But the thing that Claire and Brian brought to this board, I think, was a renewed emphasis on the fact that we needed to improve our academics. We needed to serve these kids better. And, that's been 17 years, well, 16 years for me, and you've never lost any of that focus, that it's all about the kids. And I appreciate that, because that certainly has been what I was interested in, the reason I got on the board. Well, other than my beautiful wife over here who said, oh yeah, you're talking like, why doesn't anybody else run? Why don't you run? But, you know, the whole emphasis has been on student achievement and making sure the kids of Monrovia had a solid base to go to school, to go into jobs, to whatever they were going to, that they had a solid base of knowledge and skills. And Brian, you've been right there step by step. We've had some great partners on this board. We've had some, you know, I look back at some of the people that have been on this board, and it's humbling. Mimi Mincy was on it, you know, Betty Sanford was on it, Chris Mariconda was a board member at one time. But certainly the last 17 years have been a challenge, budget-wise, now COVID-wise, achievement-wise, and we've seen so much growth. And it's, you know, a tribute, basically, I believe, some of the things that you and Claire started when you came onto the board, just before I did. So thanks so much, Brian.
Celine, would you like to make a comment?
Yes, thank you so much. Brian, when I first got on the board, I was liaising with the business department, and during the first few meetings, I would mention something about the budget, or I would ask a question, and you would always jump in. And I soon realized how vast your knowledge was, not just about the budget and not just about finances, but about everything. You had so much knowledge and you had so much wisdom. And that was all, it all wrapped around the great care that you gave to the district and to the students. And one of the things that I recognize most about you is whenever I would consult with you, from my standpoint of needing to learn and asking for, seeking your guidance and your wisdom, one thing that I always noticed about you is that you didn't just give your answer. You didn't just say, well, this is what I think, or this is what you should think. You always listened to everything and brought me to the answer. And you were so kind and thoughtful, and that is the way that you looked at everything on the school board and with the school district, is finding the answer and bringing everyone to it and helping everyone find the answer and find what is right and what is best for all of us. And I appreciate all of the time that you've given to me to help me be a better board member, and all of the time that you have given to Monrovia Unified School District and the thousands and thousands of students. And thank you so much, and don't be a stranger.
It's your turn. Thanks to everybody for all the kind words. You know, it has been my honor and privilege to serve the families and children of the district. This district is, I think Ed would agree, wildly different today than it was when we started, both physically and from an expectation standpoint. The reason I joined the board at the beginning was solely a selfish reason. Claire and I, we had a discussion like many families do. Should we put our kids in a private school or put them in a public school? I had attended both as a child, and I thought that public schools were the way to go. There were a lot of great things about the school district, and there were a lot of things that we thought needed to be fixed. So much like Connie told Ed, if you want something done, do it. So we stepped to the plate. And
and I think we had an impact. So the bottom line is, I think we left the district better than we thought.
Yeah, agreed.
Thank you.
I would say that's an absolute yes. You guys have left this place way better than what you found. On to Ed. I'm just going to read a couple things. Monrovia Unified School District Policy and Agenda Cabinet, Monrovia Unified School District School-Wide Planning Team, Monrovia Unified School District Advisory Committee, Monrovia High School Site Council, Monrovia High School Academic Booster Club, Monrovia High School Big M Booster Club, Monrovia High United Parents for Students in PTA, and that was before he became a board member. Ed, I swear you bleed Kelly green. I know you do. And, you know, I knew you before in my other position. And when I got to work with you, I grew to admire you in the way that you conduct yourself. You are a statesman. You are a gentleman. And it has been a privilege to be on a board with you. I have to say that when I think of one thing, if I had one word that would identify Ed Gilliland, and that is the word respect. You give it to everyone, and you get it in return. And so, my friend, I have high respect for the job that you did here. And as we move forward, I hope that I keep your respect in the path that we take, because that will mean a lot to me. It's been an absolute privilege to be on the same board with you it's only been 9 years, but it's been a heck of a ride. I wish it would have been a little funner at times, but it's when the things are going tough, you find out who you're working with. And both you and Brian, I will sit in the trenches with both of you anytime. Thank you very much.
Ed, I have enjoyed being on this board with you these last 2 years. I kind of envy Brian and Rob in that they were able to work with you for so many other years, because I know I could have learned a lot more. But you have brought much knowledge and value to this board. I'm thankful you were always helpful to me as a new school board member and always brought valid points that I had not considered, which comes from your years of experience, not only as a school board member, but your career with the federal forestry. I also loved that trips and outings always included your lovely wife, Connie. What a great sidekick you have. I wish you both all the best in retirement, and I know you're both itching to get back to traveling, hopefully soon. You are a stellar example of putting service above self, and our kids are better off because of you. Thank you.
I'm sorry. My Zoom just crashed. I'm going to have to restart it. Sorry about that. You can, yeah.
This is a little bit what the kids have to go through.
Yeah. Let me just try again. Why is it not working?
There you are.
You guys see yourself?
You're back up.
Let's see here.
Charles, we good?
Do you see yourself? You only see Celine.
Yeah, Celine's giving us a thumbs up. You can see me?
I see Maritza.
She can see you. Okay, Brian.
Okay, but the Zoom folks aren't seeing you. That's why.
They're not seeing who?
The board members. Yeah. Oh boy.
Smile big, Celine, because they're just seeing you.
You are the face, you're the face of the school board, Celine.
Let's see here. I got to back up for that. Where's my backup?
We will get through this.
I know that sound.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. I'll figure this out later, but
All right, I see you guys.
okay. Okay, I think I got it. Never mind. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
We're good?
Yes.
Right. Wow, look at that. Ed, you're not even gone yet, and things are falling apart. You know,
So
this
Charles-
is,
Charles, we're good?
yes,
Maybe not. Let me see here.
maybe.
Is there still audio
Yes, there's
Yes.
still audio. There's
for
still audio.
everyone? Can I say a few words about Ed?
Sure,
You want me to do that now, Mr. President?
absolutely.
Awesome, thank you. Ed, when I first joined, my first official duty as a school board member was before I had even been sworn in, and it was to attend the annual California School Board Association conference in San Francisco. And it was 3 days away from my family, and it was raining, and it was cold, and I didn't know anybody, and I didn't know what to expect. And the moment I got there, you reached out to me, and I have to say, your wonderful wife Connie also. You reached out to me, you had no idea who I was, what sort of board member I was going to be, what sort of person I was going to be, what I was going to bring, and you reached out to me, and you were there, and you guided me, and you helped me, and you accepted me, and you were so kind. And the reason I tell that story is because that's the kind of board member that you were for everyone for these 17 years. And that's the kind of person that you are for everyone. It doesn't matter to you who you are or where you're from or what you believe. You are going to be kind and be helpful and be considerate and be respectful. And that is so admirable, and it meant so much to me, and it means so much to all of us that have benefited from your service. And I want to say thank you so much for your service.
Brian. It has been fantastic to be able to serve with Ed for as long as I was able to. And we saw so many things change. Expectations, probably the most important thing. Probably the one of the biggest things that we worked on together was that high school bond. You know, we came together as a board and realized to get the best for the students, we needed the best for the teachers. And we weren't going to be able to attract the best science and math teachers with the facilities that we had. The sports was, although that's probably what's remembered now,
because it is just the gem of the San Gabriel Valley, and our sports teams perform like no others. The reality is that was an add-on. That was not in the original bond measure at all. It was only once we were able to get the finances down and we realized the amount of funds that we had that we redid the sports complexes to the level we did. We had to do the bleachers because they were actually, there were some safety and health issues there. But outside of that, they really were a secondary thought. In that process of going through the contractors and the architects, that's what really brought the board together and focus on what we were going to do and how we were going to do it and why we were going to do what we did. In Ed's background, this was right up his alley, and it was just fantastic. I mean, and that was just the beginning. And from that point, I think everything built on that. The level of trust, the level of respect of each of the different people and their abilities to do their own thing. We knew what Ed's abilities were. We trusted him implicitly, and based on all of the items that we had to handle, you know, maybe it was a little lazy on our part, but we just put it on him and said, Ed, take it, run with it. You tell us what you think needs to be done, and we'll follow your lead. All you have to do is drive by the high school and talk to any student there to know the job, phenomenal job that he was responsible for. It has been a fantastic ride, and I'm glad I was able to be there with you.
Well, I'm glad you closed with that. It's been a fantastic ride, because I've been sitting here looking at this mural behind Brian over here of the school bus and thinking, man, it's been a fantastic ride. All these years, and you know, I've been on the school bus with so many great people. Brian's one of them, Rob, Maritza. Celine, after your speech, I'll take credit now that you're such a good board member. Since, but I look back at all the people that have been on the board while we were on here, Brian, and boy, some people came on and you thought, oh, that person's going to have a political agenda. And you know what? After a little while on the board, you realize that they were able to put the students first also. And we've served some really great people during all these years. And I'm happy to say I am comfortable retiring from this position, because I think we got two great people coming on to carry that tradition on. And I will say there will be good days. And I gotta tell you, I know you're in for some long meetings and some hard considerations as budget considerations come, and as when it's safe to go back to school, and a lot of decisions. But I think that the 5 people that are on this board are more than capable of keeping the students first and making sure this district continues to grow and continues to just get better and better. I've had so many good days here, and I know you guys are going to have some good days. I look at the day that we stood in front of Wild Rose and dedicated a mural on the wall. Pam Fitzpatrick and the Huntington was there. We had partnered, this little tiny district over here, partnered with the Huntington to bring the masters to our 5th grade classes and to our elementary students. And my heart just went out and said, wow, how can we do these things? Partnering with the Boone Foundation to bring strings back into the elementaries, and all the things we've been able to do in this crisis, and just watching that academic achievement go up and up and up. And it's been such a privilege to serve with these great people. And you know, we take a lot of credit on the board, but we've got a superintendent, and we've got teachers, and we've got administrators that are out of this world. And if we'll listen to them and we'll continue to march along this line, there's nothing but better and better days ahead for this district. There is one bad memory that I will never get out of my mind. It's when in the depths of the budget cuts and the recession was going on, and Ross Godstein, I don't know if any of you, yeah, Tracy knows Ross. If you knew Ross, you knew Ross. But he stood in that boardroom and pleaded and begged for us not to cut his session, and it had to be cut. There are days like that. But there are more days like standing on the stage at Monrovia High School and seeing those kids come through. And I was privileged to see those kids come through that had been in from the kindergarten grade all the way to graduating from MHS while Brian and I were on the board. And that's a real privilege. But just standing there and watching those kids come across and knowing they've received a great education, life skills, and they're ready to go out and succeed in this world. That's been such a privilege, and I'm going to miss certain aspects of this. Other aspects I won't, but I will never forget how great this organization is, and what great staff we have, and what great people are involved with it and educating our kids. And all I can say is thank you, Monrovia, and thank you, board members, and thank you, staff.
Thank you guys, both, very, very much. We will take a short recess.
Prior to that, President Hammond, on behalf of a grateful staff and in honor of your service, both Mr. Wong and Gilliland, we have certainly a plaque.
All right.
Recognition from the offices of Grace Napolitano, the City of Monrovia, and the State Senate and Senator Portantino. Additionally, we have a certificate of appreciation from the performing arts. This certificate entitles you and a guest to 2 VIP tickets to attend future professional productions for the community in perpetuity.
Oh, wow. And you don't have to claim this now.
Additionally, again, because of your stalwart support for almost 2 decades individually, this pass will provide you admittance to all athletic events and school events at Monrovia High School. Personally, I just want to say thank you. You guys have been awesome. It's been a privilege to work with you. And I will miss the incessant questions, Mr. Wong, and the very dry sense of humor, Mr. Gilliland. And again, also before we recess, we'd like to thank our board president for leading us through a very, very difficult year. Nobody was prepared for this year, and we looked to you for guidance and leadership, and we received it. You were bold, fearless, and with a clear vision of what you wanted, and that was always to bring what was best for our students, and you were relentless in its pursuit. Thank you for leading us through a very difficult time. I hope the years will get easier for us all as we move and progress. But for you as well, we have a beautiful plaque.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. With that, we'll take a short recess and reset our tables. Of course, keeping social distance protocols, and we'll return in just a few minutes. to nominate a secretary, and I move that we bring Dr. Kathy Terosian as the board secretary. I need a second.
Second.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed? So ordered. Ms. Huff, do we have any comments, public comments on this agenda?
We do not.
Thank you very much. Up first is Dr. Terosian will administer the oath of office to Tracy Golar.
Please stand, Ms. Golar. Raise your right hand and repeat after me. First, I state your name. I, Tracy Golar, do solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California against all enemies, foreign and domestic. That I will bear true faith and allegiance to the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California. That I take this obligation freely without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion.
Without any mental
Reservation,
reservation or purpose of
evasion.
evasion,
And I will well and faithfully
and I will well and faithfully
discharge the duties
discharge the duties
upon which I am about to enter.
upon which I am about to enter.
Congratulations, Board Member Golar.
Congratulations.
Please administer the oath of office to Jennifer Anderson.
Repeat after me. I, Jennifer Anderson,
I, Jennifer Anderson,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend
that I will support and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California
and the Constitution of the State of California
against all enemies, foreign and domestic.
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
That I will bear true faith and allegiance
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
to the Constitution of the United States
to the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California.
and the Constitution of the State of California,
That I take this obligation freely
that I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation
without any mental reservation
or purpose of evasion,
or purpose of evasion,
and I will well and faithfully discharge
and I will well and faithfully discharge
the duties upon which I am about to enter.
the duties upon which I am about to enter.
Congratulations, Board Member Anderson. Mr. Hammond. Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Rob Hammond,
I, Rob Hammond,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend
that I will support and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California
and the Constitution of the State of California
against all enemies, foreign and domestic.
against all enemies, foreign and domestic.
That I will bear true faith and allegiance
That I will bear true faith and allegiance
to the Constitution of the United States
to the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California.
and the Constitution of the State of California.
That I take this obligation freely
That I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation
without any mental reservation
or purpose of evasion,
or purpose of evasion.
and I will well and faithfully
And I will well and faithfully
discharge the duties
discharge the duties
upon which I am about to enter.
upon which I'm about to enter.
Congratulations, Board Member Hammond.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
I'll continue with agenda item 1.5, the election of officers. And I'll open nominations and entertain a nominee for the position of president.
I nominate Maritza Travanti.
A second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed? Congratulations, Board President Travanti. Do we have a nominee for the position of vice president?
I nominate Celine Lockerbie for vice president.
Second.
We have a nomination and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Congratulations, Board Vice President Lockerbie. Do we have a nominee for the position of clerk?
I nominate Tracy Golar for the position of clerk.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Congratulations, Board Clerk Golar. Moving on to item 1.6, I'll entertain a nominee to represent the district in the election of members to the County Committee of School District Organization for the 2021 school year.
You want me? Okay. You want to nominate me?
I nominate Rob Hammond.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Congratulations, Mr. Hammond. Moving on to item 1.7, authorized signature certification for the Los Angeles County Office of Education for the period of December 16, 2020 through December 10, 2021.
So moved.
Is there any discussion? Ms. Huff, will you please call the roll?
Board Member Hammond,
Yes.
Board Member Anderson,
Yes.
Board Member Golar,
Yes.
Board Member Lockerbie,
Yes.
Board Member Travanti.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
Item 1.8, appoint board president as the board's representative for the 2020-2021 negotiation of the superintendent's contract and compensation as directed by the board.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Ms. Huff, will you please call the roll?
Board Member Anderson,
Yes.
Board Member Golar,
Yes.
Board Member Lockerbie,
Yes.
Board Member Hammond,
Yes.
Board President Travanti.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
Finally, item number 1.9, adopt a resolution for the payment of a stipend of board members pursuant to Education Code Section 35120. I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Is there a second?
Second.
We have.
I think we have 2 seconds.
Any discussion? Ms. Huff, please call the roll.
Board Member Golar,
Yes.
Board Member Lockerbie,
Yes.
Board Member Hammond,
Yes.
Board Member Anderson,
Yes.
Board President Travanti.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
With that, we'll adjourn the annual organizational meeting, and I turn the meeting over to Board President Maritza Travanti.
That's going to take a little bit to get used to. Thank you. I'd like to reconvene this special
Before we
board.
do,
Oh. Thank you. I'd like to reconvene the Special Board of Education open session at 4:53 p.m. Moving on to item F, remarks from me. Good afternoon, fellow board members, Superintendent Dr. Tarosian, cabinet members, Monrovia Unified staff, parents, and community. As your newly installed school board president, I felt it was necessary and important to set the tone for the 2021 year. To my fellow board members, and especially the 3 who recently were just sworn in, congratulations. Putting yourselves out there isn't easy. Running campaigns isn't easy, but you did it, and I'm grateful to have the opportunity to collaborate and work with you, and I hope you feel proud. I hope you realize how truly wonderful it is to be voted into office by your community and have the opportunity to influence decisions, establish core values, and drive quality education for the children of Monrovia. We will continue to face challenging times, and critical decisions that impact students, parents, and staff. But I am confident we have the right people in place, so get ready to roll up your sleeves. There is work to be done. I'd like to thank the board members for entrusting me with the leadership role of your president for 2021. I am honored to serve and will work hard to ensure we hear from all perspectives to make the best choices we can during these challenging times. I would be remiss if I didn't thank and recognize the great work done by our outgoing president, Rob Hammond. Since March, he has done an exceptional job leading our board through the rockiest and most difficult time in public education history. From the immediate and swift actions in March to the weekly conversations with Ralph Walker on KGM to ensure the public stayed informed, to leading discussions with difficult conversations and insisting on transparency by establishing weekly special meetings to provide information during a rapidly changing environment. Your governance and your leadership this year was commendable. I have very big shoes to fill, I know this. Rob, thank you for your continued service and dedication to our students and families. Dr. Terosian, your steadfast leadership throughout this time has not gone unnoticed. Your countless hours balanced between staff, student, and parent needs, coupled with the demands coming from the school board, has not been easy this year, but you handled the demands with grace and dignity and true compassion for our families as well as the entire Monrovia Unified staff. In an ever-changing world with no manual or no handbook to reference. In addition, I want to thank cabinet members Dr. Sue Kaiser, Dr. Darvin Jackson, Connie Wu, and Charles Pravakin, and all your staff that have been working long hours throughout this distance learning. I'd also like to express my gratitude to Administrative Assistant Shoshana Huff and Joy Alberto for keeping things moving and answering all my emails so quickly. Thank you all. To our teachers, administrators, and staff, we don't get to thank you often enough, and certainly not since March. I know this is not what you signed up for, but you have stepped up to the plate. You have relearned the way you do your jobs, and you have felt frustration and at times defeated. But I also know there have been many, many successes. You have overcome technology challenges and many other challenges, but you find ways to make it work. You have been innovative, resourceful, creative, and flexible, and although this is not the perfect or ideal platform, students are learning. And I am going to bet this generation will not take their teachers for granted when they get back to classrooms. I suspect they will look forward to sitting in their classroom seats again and seeing each of their teachers and classmates every day with an eagerness to learn. Lastly, to our parents, students, and families, we are coming off the heels of one of the toughest and most challenging periods known in our lifetime. When we dismissed students on March 13th, no one could have predicted we would still be in this posture today. But I want to convey to you, there is hope for better days. There is hope for having our children back in schools. And when it is safe to do so, we will move in that direction because children belong in classrooms and in a focused learning environment. Parents need relief from the pandemic struggles and having the additional burden of becoming teachers and IT staff too. And in many cases, teachers to several children in a household. Students need and crave the interaction with their teachers and fellow students. This we know and understand, and we will bring them back when it is safe to do so. We miss seeing their beautiful faces. In the meantime, you have our commitment to ensure they receive the best possible education under the conditions and constraints we have been given. You have our commitment and will continue to be responsive to our parents and community. We will continue to provide regular communications and report out as often as necessary, but I have a request. My request is that we all do what we can to keep relationships going. What I ask all of you tonight is to be engaged with the process, and admittingly, it changes frequently based on guidance received from Los Angeles Department of Health and the Los Angeles Department of Education. But please stay on top of your parent square. When the district sends out a survey, please complete it. This is how we can properly gauge the needs of our parents, students, and staff. And I want to emphasize, connection and relationships matter, and even more so in the virtual world we find ourselves in. This really is a village effort, and all of you are an important member of that village, so we can do the best we can for your children, our children. After all, that is the reason we are all here tonight. My promise, and this board's promise to you, is to be your advocate and to be responsive. We are only an email or a phone call away. Thank you, and now we have some business to address. It's getting a little dark here. Next item on the agenda is G. Without adjourning the special Board of Education meeting, I'll convene the annual meeting of the Monrovia Financing Corporation. I'd like to call this meeting to order at 5 o'clock. Ms. Huff, do we have any public comments?
We do not.
Thank you. Item number 3 is designate officers for the MUSD Financing Corporation. I move that officers will mirror that of the current board.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Hammond. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Ms. Huff, please take roll.
Board Member Lockerbie?
Yes.
Board Member Hammond?
Yes.
Board Member Anderson?
Yes.
Board Member Golar?
Yes.
Board President Travanti?
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you, Ms. Huff. For the annual report of corporation activities, I will turn this over to Ms. Wu to report. Ms. Wu?
Yes, good afternoon, Board President Mr. Travanti, and board members, especially welcome for 2 new board members, Board Member Ms. Gara and Board Member Mr. Anderson. This is our annual district finance corporation meeting, and my report is focused on what have done financially, the activity during the corporation in the last school year. And the purpose of this corporation is for issuing the certificate of participation back to January 1997. The district issued $3.2 million, the certificate of participation, for the purpose of remodel the Mountain Avenue building, which is the adult education Canyon Oak and the Mountain Park campus. The district refinanced the COP back to 2011 with $2.15 million. Last school year, we paid $222,867 for the payment, including the interest and the principal. The district is seeking for the potential refinance again because of the low interest. We confirm that as of right now, because our balance for the CUP is only $768,000, and we only have a 5-year left, so financially it is not wise to refinance because we cost effective compared with the balance, the term of the payment, as well as the cost of the finance. So it is confirmed that we will keep the schedule as it is. And I will looking for the different options to see whether we can either looking for the other fund, which if it is allowable to pay off the cost.
Thank you, Ms. Wu. Is there any other business to discuss before this body?
I wanted to ask a question if I could very quickly.
Absolutely.
Ms. Wu, thank you for that report. I wanted to clarify something. You said that we have 5 years left on our current repayment plan. If we were to refinance, how long would that extend our repayment plan?
So if we're going to refinance, my conversation is, and my understanding is that we're going to extend another 15 years.
Okay, so right now, we only have 5 years.
That's right.
And then we're done with that. So refinancing that would tack an extra 10 years onto that financial obligation of ours. Is that correct?
That's correct. And we also, last time when we refinanced, we paid at least $80,000 the cost for the finance. So that is another reason we probably can use that 80,000 fee pay towards the interest rate and the principal. And we have an option to prepay earlier for the COP.
Our current, the current plan that we're in allows us to prepay.
That's correct.
Thank you for that explanation. I appreciate it. It's complex, and just straightening out those details for all of us is very helpful. Thank you so much for that.
My pleasure.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you. Hearing none, I will adjourn the annual meeting of the Monrovia Financing Corporation. Thank you, Ms. Wu. Moving on to item I, dates to calendar. Our winter break is December 21st through 2020 to January 1st, 2021. And our next regularly scheduled Board of Education meeting is January 13th, 2021. Before we adjourn the meeting for this evening, it is with heavy heart we close tonight's meeting in honor of Joanne Montgomery. Mrs. Montgomery taught 5th grade at Mayflower Elementary for 32 years before retiring. She was also a recipient of the Teacher of the Year Award. After retirement, JoJo was elected to represent Monrovia to the Citrus College Board of Trustees in 1999, where she just retired last month. Many of us attended her virtual retirement celebration, where Rob Hammond shared many stories from former Monrovia Unified students. Mrs. Montgomery was the kind of teacher that expected a lot from her students, but in return, she left her students with the knowledge that she cared about them, supported them, and would be there to help them along long after they left their classroom. Over the years, we have heard countless stories from former students, and they all had this in common. Mrs. Montgomery was the teacher who made the biggest impact in my life. Teaching is a profession, so naturally it becomes associated with work. But to Joanne Montgomery, being a teacher was a vocation, a true love. This was her calling. To her wonderful family, Cynthia, and Andy, Corinne, Katie, Marie, Gracie, Oliver, and Mila Jo, we extend our heartfelt sympathy and prayers. Tonight, as we close this meeting, we will remember the impact that JoJo had on hundreds of Monrovia students and the difference she made in our lives. Thank you, JoJo. We were fortunate to know you and love you. Now, if there's no further business to discuss before this body, I will adjourn the Special Board of Education open session meeting at 5:07 p.m. Stay safe and happy holidays to everybody.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays, everyone.